Drake, Mr. Certified Lover Boy, the man who gave us heartbreak anthems, Toronto Pride, and apparently murder plots? Yeah, you heard that right. What if I told you the same guy who cries over ex-girlfriends in his songs just got caught on tape, allegedly scheming about taking out Kendrick Lamar? Crazy, right? But hey, this is hip-hop, and nothing is ever just music anymore. So here's the million-dollar question. Did Drake really just go from God's plan to Godfather's plan? Because according to a leak swirling through back channels, burner accounts, and those sketchy Discord servers where culture always breaks first, the sixth god might have been unknowingly recorded plotting against the one man bold enough to dethrone him, Kendrick Lamar. And let's be honest, Toronto's soft-spoken reputation doesn't exactly scream murder capital. But when Drake's ego is on the line, and Kendrick is stomping through with Not Like Us blasting, suddenly the city looks less like maple syrup land and more like a scene straight out of Power. But how real is this tape? Who leaked it? And more importantly, what does this mean for hip-hop's biggest rivalry of the decade? Buckle up, because this isn't just a rap beef anymore. This is war, alright? Let's start with the scandal that has hip-hop fans foaming at the mouth. Conspiracy theorists scribbling on whiteboards and Drake stans crying into their OVO hoodies. The so-called murder tape. Now look, beef and rap is nothing new. Tupac and Biggie turned lyrical warfare into street tragedies. Jay-Z and Nas gave us subliminals that lasted decades. But Drake, Mr. Billboard Hot 100? The guy who made half the rap game sing about late-night texts and Uber rides. Home? Yeah, him plotting a hit like some kind of Toronto Tony Montana? That's the twist nobody saw coming. So what do we know? According to anonymous sources, and you know that's just code for someone's cousin on Reddit, a tape exists. A tape where Drake allegedly vents about Kendrick Lamar, not just regular trash talk like his album sales don't match mine or his braids look dusty. No, this is darker. The whispers say Drake goes off script, allegedly hinting that if Kendrick dares set foot in Toronto, he might not walk back out. That's not bars, that's not diss track energy. That's Netflix true crime documentary, Energy. And here's the kicker. Apparently, Drake didn't even know he was being recorded. Imagine being one of the richest rappers alive, surrounded by OVO insiders, and one of your own people decides, yeah, I'm gonna hit record on my iPhone voice memos just in case the sixth god starts talking mafia. That's either betrayal or the boldest loyalty test in rap history. Now, to understand why this tape even matters, we gotta rewind. Drake's been under fire for years, ghostwriting scandals, awkward beefs with Pusha T, endless memes about his love life. But the Kendrick situation? This is different. This is a man whose entire discography is built on exposing fakes. Remember, Kendrick doesn't just battle with bars. He plays chess while the rest of the rap game plays checkers. He drops a line, waits in silence, and watches his rivals self-destruct. And right now, Drake looks like he's speedrunning self-destruction because Kendrick didn't just release Not Like Us. He made it a cultural nuke. Clubs play it like an anthem, kids dance to it on TikTok. Even Drake's own city couldn't resist vibing to it. Toronto, the empire Drake built, was suddenly singing along to the soundtrack of his downfall. And nothing bruises a king's ego like watching his own people celebrate the coronation of a new ruler. That's why this alleged tape feels so explosive. Because if it's real, it's not just Drake talking tough in a studio. It's Drake crossing the line from lyrical assassin to alleged mob boss, and here's where it gets messy. The name Top 5 keeps popping up. If you're new to Toronto, rap drama, Top 5 is not a magazine list. He's a rapper with a rap sheet, and surprise, surprise, an OVO affiliate. This is the same guy who once went on camera and told Kendrick he better not show up to Toronto with police protection. Translation, come without cops or don't come at all. And who reportedly helped Top 5 with his legal defense when he was fighting, you guessed it, a murder case. Yeah, word on the street is it was Drake. So put two and two together, a loyal OVO foot soldier threatening Kendrick, a superstar allegedly paying his murder defense bills. And now, a tape of Drake supposedly saying Kendrick might not make it. Out alive in Toronto? Coincidence? Maybe, but in hip-hop, Coincidences are just plot twists waiting to be confirmed. So the whispers about this murder tape start leaking. At first, people thought it was just another internet hoax, like the time everyone swore Drake had a secret son. Oh wait, that one turned out to be true. But the moment certain bloggers, podcasters, and even washed-up rappers with too much free time started dropping hints, that's when the culture sat up. Twitter threads popped off with captions like, OVO really stands for Organized Violent Operations. Memes of Drake photoshopped as Scarface flooded Instagram. TikTok detectives claimed they could hear Drake's voice on some low-quality audio clip that was basically a guy ordering shawarma in a Canadian accent, but still, the narrative was alive. And in the world of hip-hop, perception is reality. Then came the fake investigative reports. Screenshots of alleged demise between OVO insiders circulated, saying things like, "The boss don't want him walking out that stadium." Anonymous sources, always anonymous, swore that certain Toronto venues had already beefed up security for Kendrick's upcoming tour stop. Even wilder, a supposed leaked invoice showing OVO money funneled towards security consultants. Translation in conspiracy land. Paid hitters and the reactions? Man, they were split down the middle. Drake's diehard stans clapped back, saying this was all fairy tales. They quoted his Twitch interview where he laughed it off. "You need facts to take me out, fairy tales won't do it." But skeptics pointed out he never denied the top 5 connection. He never denied funding his defense. He never even directly addressed the murder tape. Silence in this game speaks louder than bars. Meanwhile, the streets were eating it up. One anonymous Toronto DJ told an underground blog, "Look, Drake runs this city. If he says the word, dudes move. Simple. Kendrick coming here is like walking into Jurassic Park with a stake tied around your neck." Another so-called insider claimed, "That tape ain't even the worst, this video. There's more." Whole conversations, group chats, names dropped, and then law enforcement started getting name dropped. Tony Yayo warned that once threats are spoken on record, the feds listen. Suddenly, whispers spread that Canadian authorities were monitoring chatter around Kendrick's Toronto show. Imagine that, the police treating a rap concert like a potential international incident. But here's where it gets juicy. Remember when Drake's own bodyguard got shot in Canada not too long ago? Well, conspiracy theorists were quick to connect the dots. They spun it as retaliation, like someone was already firing warning shots in this quiet little war. Coincidence? Maybe, but in the context of this alleged tape, it felt like this video of a bigger puzzle. And let's not forget the hip-hop veterans chiming in. Whack 100 laughed on Clubhouse. "If Kendrick performs Not Like Us in Toronto, it's gone. Be chaos." Straight up, Oshino doubled down. Drake is Toronto. You can't disrespect Drake and think it's all sweet. Even if they weren't confirming the tape, their tone gave it credibility. Because when OGs talk, fans listen. Here's where. The scandal jumped from Twitter threads to boardroom panic. The whispers of a murder tape weren't just fan gossip anymore. Corporate execs, brand partners, and even sports leagues were allegedly scrambling behind the scenes, terrified of being tied to hip-hop's next big crime saga. Think about it. Drake isn't just a rapper, he's a brand. Nike deals, Sprite commercials, global tours, even that bizarre gambling sponsorship where he streams himself losing millions on roulette. But suddenly, companies were faced with the question, do you really want your family-friendly product associated with a man accused of plotting against Kendrick Lamar? Even if it's unproven, the optics are messy. Rumors began swirling that some sponsors were reviewing contracts. A leaked email supposedly from a Canadian events company said, "We cannot afford to host if liability increases due to potential threats." Translation? Even Drake's hometown wasn't sure it wanted the smoke. Meanwhile, law enforcement chatter got louder. Bloggers claimed the Toronto police were monitoring online beef, and one podcast even swore the FBI requested copies of the alleged tape. Since Kendrick touring across the border made it an international security matter. Was that true? Who knows? But in the court of public opinion, the idea alone was enough to make the story explode. And Kendrick. Silence, pure silence. The same silence that makes him terrifying. while Drake dodged questions on Twitch streams and ranted about fairy tales. Kendrick didn't even tweet, didn't post, didn't blink, and that silence turned into power. Fans said, why would he respond? The music already buried Drake, the culture already crowned him, but the industry's silence, that was even more damning. Rappers Drake had put on Block Boy JB, Yachty, even 2 Chainz were mute. Nobody came rushing to defend him. Nobody risked their own reputation by saying, nah, Drake's not like that. When the empire you built refuses to ride for you, that's the real death blow, and let's not forget the NFL bombshell. Kendrick was announced as the Super Bowl halftime headliner while this drama was peaking. Drake? Rumors swirled that he'd turned it down twice. But insiders claim the opposite. The NFL simply didn't want the controversy. They wanted legacy, safety, and clean PR, so they chose Kendrick. Imagine the humiliation watching. Your rival snatched the biggest stage in the world. While you drown in conspiracy theories, the fallout only deepened when reports surfaced of attempted break-ins at Drake's Toronto mansion. Some said it was clout-chasing fans. Others whispered it was retaliation tied to the beef. Either way, it shattered the illusion of safety around the sixth god. If even your fortress in the city you supposedly control isn't safe, how much power do you really have? And this is the cliffhanger. Was Drake just a victim of rumors gone viral, or was there really a dark undercurrent in his empire? Because when a superstar's brand is built on silence, lawyers, and OVO loyalty, but the streets say otherwise, the line between myth and reality gets razor-thin. So here's the real question. Is Drake just the victim of wild internet rumors? Or did the sixth god really let his ego push him into the shadows of a murder plot? Because if this tape is even half real, hip-hop isn't looking at a beef anymore. We're looking at history's darkest rap scandal. But what do you think? Is Kendrick untouchable, or is Drake powerful enough to bury the truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button and subscribe because this story is far from over, and trust me, the next chapter will blow your mind.